Hi friends, where we discuss about that the measures of variation. In that measures of variation, the two topics are the most important. The first one that is the standard deviation, and the second one is that is the variance. So that standard deviation in Latin word that will denoted by the sigma, and the variance is that is a we have to denoted by the sigma square. So first of all, we have to discuss about that the standard deviation variance, that is for the individual data, or that also we have to say about that the ungrouped data. So that first of all we have to discuss about that the formula of standard deviation and variance. So that standard deviation sigma is equal to, in square root, summation I is equal to 1 to n in bracket xi minus x bar bracket square that can be divided by the small n. So is that xi is that is a variable, x bar is that is a mean for the ungrouped data, and small n is that is a number of observation. Then we have to discuss about that the formula of the variance. So that variance sigma square is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n in bracket xi minus x bar bracket closed to the square of that can be divided by the small n. So that is the difference between standard deviation and variance. That is the positive square root of mean square deviation that we have to say is about that the standard deviation, and the variance that is the square of a standard deviation, square of standard deviation. That things we have to say is about that the variance. So that is the difference between standard deviation and variance. So in that we'll take about that one example of the ungrouped data. So that find standard deviation and variance from the following data. We have to given that the data 6, 7, 8, 10, 13 and 14. So that first of all that 6, 7, 8, 10, 13, 14 that are on the that we have to say is about that the xi, that we have to say is variable. Then first of all we have to calculate the mean of that data. When that we have to use the formula of the mean for the ungrouped data, that is the x bar is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n xi that can divided by small n. It will be 58 divided by 6. So that is a 58 divided by 6, that we will get about that the x bar is equal to 9.66. So that mean we have to getting the 9.66. Then you have to prepare the second column. That column we can say is about that the xi minus x bar bracket square, xi minus x bar bracket square. So that in that variable we have to subtract the mean, that is the xi minus x bar 9.66. So each variable we have to subtract the 9.66. So we get about that minus 2.66 minus 3.66 minus 1.66 0.34 3.34 4.34. Then we have to calculate, that is square of that. So that prepare the third column, take the square of that is minus 2.66 square is that is a 7.07 minus 3.66 the square is that is a 13.39 minus 1.66 the square is 2.75 0.34 the square is that is 0.11, then 3.34 the square is 11.15, and the 4.34 the square is that is 18.83. then take their sum. या कॉलमची आपल्याला काय करायची, बेरीज करायची. that is summation xi minus x bar bracket square is equal to 53.3. so that three columns we have to prepare when we have to find the standard deviation and variance. या ठिकाणी एक गोष्ट लक्षात ठेवायची, स्टँडर्ड डिव्हिएशन आणि व्हेरियन्स अनग्रुप डेटा याच्या स्टेप्स सेम आहेत. मग कॅल्क्युलेशनमध्ये आपण पहिले कॅल्क्युलेट मीन केलं, नंतर एक्स आय मायनस एक्स बार, नंतर एक्स आय मायनस एक्स बार ब्रॅकेट स्क्वेअर, त्याचा काय करायचं आपल्याला स्क्वेअर करायचा आहे. अँड दॅट इज वी कॅन टर्न अबाउट दॅट द ज्या व्हॅल्यू आपण कॅल्क्युलेट केलं त्या व्हॅल्यू स्टँडर्ड डिव्हिएशन आणि व्हेरियन्सच्या अनग्रुप डेटाच्या फॉर्म्युल्यामध्ये पुट करायच्या. दॅट इज राईट ऑन द फॉर्म्युला. स्टँडर्ड डिव्हिएशन सिग्मा इज इक्वल टू इन स्क्वेअर रूट summation I is equal to 1 to n in bracket xi minus x bar bracket square is that can be divided by n. Summation xi minus x bar square 53.3, small n number of observation आपल्याला 6 दिलेत, 53.3 that can be divided by 6, so we get about that the 8.88. नंतर या 8.88चा आपल्याला वर्गमूळ फाइंड करायचं आहे, म्हणजे स्क्वेअर रूट फाइंड करायचं आहे. सो दॅट इज विल टेक अबाउट दॅट द आन्सर इज दॅट इज अ स्टँडर्ड डिव्हिएशन 2.97. And variance, we have to calculate the variance, that apply the formula, put the value in that. So the variance sigma square is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n in bracket xi minus x bar bracket square that can be divided by small n. So it is a 53.3 that can be divided by 6. So we get about that 8.88. या ठिकाणी आपल्याला स्टँडर्ड डिव्हिएशन 2.97 भेटले आणि व्हेरियन्स हे 8.8 भेटलेला आहे. सो थँक्यू फॉर वॉचिंग. If you have to like it, then subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.